Some are outraged in Truckin today and asking, do you even belong behind the wheel? That's the questions pretty much shaking up people around truck stops and weigh stations all across this country. And it's not just coming from dispatchers or even the regulators. It's coming from the DOT, and it's backed by a rule that's already been forcing drivers off the road, even as we speak. Some without warning. But we're going to clear things up tonight. This is something you need to know about. Because, well, it could be you. Tonight we're going to break down the question. It really is not only just insulting, but it's real, and it's backed by a newly enforced regulation that's both left everybody talking on social media, and it's leaving thousands of drivers stunned, speechless, feeling like they've got nowhere to go. You're going to hear what the mainstream won't tell you, and you're going to find out if you, your rig, or your job are hanging by a government thread. I encourage you to watch this all the way to the end, because you don't know what could cost you your career. Greetings, truck lovers and truth seekers all across the United States of Truckin. Boss Man here, back in the saddle, giving you headlines you need from the Institute of Critical Thinking. Welcome to another episode of Headlines. Let's get to the meat and potatoes of exactly what an article from MSN News has to say about an issue that a lot of you have been talking about. Under a new executive order signed by President Donald Trump, the DOT has reinstated and re-energized an old rule that requires drivers to demonstrate the ability to speak, read, and understand the English language or be pulled off the road immediately. No warnings, no probation, just out of service. Boom, right there on the spot. Now, this ain't technically new. This has always been on the books, but enforcement got so relaxed it was practically non-existent. But let's talk about why this rule matters. There have been demonstrated cases, pictured here to the right, of accidents, near misses, emergencies, you name it, where a driver's inability to read and communicate in the English language has caused dangers, fatalities, and a lot of problems. Drivers unable to read and understand bridge height signs, detour signs, those digital signs that talk about construction and ever-changing road conditions, well, all those things you cannot read make you a rolling liability. And that's the part that the media is really dancing around and failed to tell you. But here at Truckin City, we don't pull any punches. We tell it to you like it is. Let's talk about who this really affects. Many say that this is disproportionately impacting mainly immigrant drivers, but it also affects native-born drivers with literacy challenges, learning disabilities, or just products of poor schooling. See, you don't need an accent to fail this test. You just need the wrong answer. And a lot of people are beginning to worry about that due to the fact that they don't know exactly what all the requirements for said test are. Failed to identify 3 out of 4 road signs during a roadside inspection, and boom, Bob's your uncle. Struggle to answer, where did you begin your trip today? Or, did you conduct a pre-trip? That's grounds for being out of service. Rule may mark the end of corporate influence on the so-called driver shortage. This is something that the mainstream media won't talk about. For years, they've pushed this, we need drivers, all while opening the floodgates for a bunch of people behind the wheel that can't even communicate and cause a clear and present danger. For years, big carriers pushed the idea that we were short on drivers and therefore needed this class of drivers to solve a supply chain problem. It was all about filling seats. Well, now it's all about who belongs in the seat. Hashtag just saying. Some are asking, is this rule fair? On the surface, the rule makes sense. You need to understand the English language to be able to read safety signs, comply with inspections, call for help, and protect lives. There are cases where people have had accidents and haven't done a thing to help others because they don't understand what's going on. Who decides what's fluent? What if a driver's nervous? These are questions being asked about this so-called English test. It puts the drivers and the inspectors at odds. Subjective enforcement has been a thing for years. Enter in a new English proficiency exam on the road, and you've got room for a lot more arguments. If there's anything truckers hate more than bad dispatch, it's inconsistent rules that are being weaponized to pick on a particular class of trucker. Now, I'm not saying the immigrants need anything more than we do. I'm not saying they need anything less than we do. But there is room in journalism for applying a fair argument to any objective problem. Put down in the comments what you think is fair. Lastly, we're going to look at the real impact here. According to this report in MSN, starting this month, drivers are already being pulled. Communities like Laredo, Texas, a critical hub for U.S.-Mexico freight, are now rushing to set up classes to protect people and do business here in the States. Meanwhile, some lawmakers in places like Oklahoma are doubling down and proposing $500 and $3,000 fines and forced cargo transfers and even jail time for violators. I, for one, am taking the position of safety. For far too long, we've been seeing an increase in accidents caused by individuals not able to communicate in English. I, for one, am all for an English requirement to do the job. If this is just an immigration push, bad news. So what should drivers do? If you have a poor understanding of the English language, brush up. Look for English classes. Get familiar. Do so quickly. So right now I'm going to turn this over to you guys. Tell me in your best words, do you think the government should have given drivers more time? Comment down below and let me know. Or do you think, like me, that this is long overdue? Mainstream press isn't asking these questions. Only I am here on Truckin' Headlines. Truckin' City Media is your place to go to find answers, implore critical thinking, and get solutions to help make trucking great again. If you haven't already, go down below, become a subscriber, click on our playlists on our featured news stories. Believe you me, these news stories right here will help you make trucking great again. And remember, it's the trucks that make the deliveries, but it's you that make the difference. Till next time, keep it real. Oh, and by the way, keep it rolling.